Hey guys, how you doing? This is Les again with another episode of Brothers of Influence. Right now we're in Maryland with a good friend of mine's, and we added another brother here, and we're just gonna kick things off. Again, some of you may know me, may or may not know me, but my name is Les again. I am a contractor doing government contracts in the sector of HVAC in New York City. I also have a welding school, Bot Welding Consulting LLC, and now my most cherished venture, Brothers of Influence podcast. So here we are, and so here are two guests. I'm gonna have them introduce themselves to you guys and kick off today. All right, so why don't we start with you, Hans?
Yeah, definitely. Let's appreciate just the opportunity when you came down to meet up and just talk about the Brothers of Influence project you're working on. Again, I'm Hans Petithomme. I've known Les personally as a dear friend for, is it 20 years? A very long time, growing up in Brooklyn, New York. We've done a lot from having multiple funds and traveling. And when he reached out to me about this particular project, our mindset just kind of aligned. So my background, been in the banking industry for over 2 decades, 20 years plus. I'm still young, appreciate that. Own my own business, consulting firm, advising multiple clients. And now we're divvying up into different wealth of opportunities, real estate related, and podcasts and different types of businesses. So we're excited to talk about give you guys some pointers today, and then, keep progressing forward.
All right.
Everyone, my name is Damian Robertson. I'm glad to be here. Les, thank you for the opportunity, as well as my brother Hans. I've known for several years as well. My background, everyone, is in investment and financial planning. I'm also a retired engineering officer from the United States Army. I currently work for the government's version of a 401k plan as an instructor who briefs federal employees on their retirement benefits. Today, I would just like to join in the conversation and provide my expertise. I'm also a certified financial planner, a CFP, and I would like to share with you all not only the opportunities in real estate that Les and Hans are going to talk about, but also some investment opportunities that may be available for us that we may not be aware of. So I hope to share that information with you in this podcast.
Great. All right, so there's so much value sitting to the right and to the left of me, so I'm gonna do less talking because you guys are gonna see me more frequently, and Hans, I just want you to just give the audience like your background, like how did you get here, and talk about, from that standpoint, talk about what are you looking to do moving forward.
It's pretty simple, man. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York with what you quote unquote middle class family of Haitian descent. I'm Haitian, born in Haiti, raised in New York. I grew up watching this show, Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. And as a kid back then, the option was, of course, sports. And you had to fit that certain criteria, athletic wise and ability. But then I wanted to be rich. So I looked into Wall Street, particularly the banking, the finance area. And I always had a young entrepreneur mindset. At 14, I opened up my first business. I actually went into the local Staples, took one of their brochures, and started repairing computers for the local residents and businesses at that time. From there, took my path to college, paid all my school bills out of college, and I ended up in the finance field with a focus on insurance and estate planning. I think my background since then, being in the industry, banking in particular, I've come across a lot of opportunities and individuals I've met over the years, and I learned from them what they currently do, how they got to where they are from a standpoint of wealth building and foundation. So now my goal is just to give back to others who think like how I think, who want to explore different realization that we have to build wealth, especially in this country, to make any kind of serious impact within our communities. So now my focus is giving back, educating as many individuals who's open to receiving the information on, the foundations of wealth, sustainability, planning, by then creating an impact within the community. So it's all about giving back now on the financial knowledge. Since we have gone to real estate investments to build that real estate equity in a portfolio, and still have different businesses that we investing into as well. So it's all about giving back, man, from a business standpoint, because nothing moves without money behind it. So we have to build wealth in the community first to have any kind of impact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Damien? What was your background like growing up? And
Les, I would say I had a similar journey as Hans. I'm originally from Norfolk, Virginia. I migrated over the years to the Washington, D.C. area. And me becoming who I am today, I would say was trial and error. I kind of went after my passion. Coming up, I was a very athletic individual. So I said, let me give this Army thing a try. And not only that, but, I was understanding that the Army would help pay for education. So I took advantage of that. So, I came in the Army, enlisted, E1 at the very bottom of the scale. And I worked my way up over the years, just based on my motivation and the passion that I had to become a engineering officer. And I started at the bottom, everyone. And that's really important to me, because I've been where most people have been. And with that said, I excelled in the Army, became that engineering officer, and at that point, I also had a passion for investments. So as I was planning to retire from the Army, I had to decide what my next move would be. And I had to also figure out what I was passionate about. And I was always that guy in front of the computer, playing around with stocks and bonds. And I said, why don't I turn this thing into a career? So that's exactly what I did when I retired from the Army. I went after my passion, which was financial planning. I was in the Washington, D.C. area at the time. I signed up for an investment firm. I'm a typical financial planner, helping people reach their retirement goals. I got the opportunity to serve as a manager of financial planners. I realized that where I wasn't passionate about, I wanted to be able to help people who look like me. So I went back to the field as a financial planner for people who look like me, my brothers and sisters, to help them realize that investing is a simple process. We just need to share that with the person to the right and to the left of us and let them know it is possible to do for all of us by just starting off at a small amount and continuing it over time. And then that's saying, we've developed a nice retirement nest egg for ourselves, or a nice savings account for ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. Now, where I am today, I've realized that my mindset was a little shifted compared to where it needed to be. And I decided that ownership is the foundation for us. And my journey from this day moving forward, coming in line with these brothers here, is to develop our own businesses and to purchase our own real estate and to share this information with those that come behind us to take us to the next level. So that's me in a nutshell, Les, and where I come from in my background, sir.
that's what's up, and just so you guys know, man, we're not here talking about stuff. Like, we're sitting on a property that we're looking at and investing in right now, and still managed to, I came in to do an episode of Brothers of Influence, but at the same time, there was an opportunity and we made that happen in one. But listen, guys, look, one thing in life I would say is that, us as, and I'm just going to speak on that because we're in this time, because I don't really give attention and energy to racism, because at the ending of the day, we're all people. You know what I'm saying? Just like you go in the forest and you look around and see the trees, you see the animals and all the different kind of animals and all the different kind of trees going on. Is diversity. That's what makes it beautiful. But we've gotten to a point in which, because my color is this and your color is that, you know, I am inferior to you, you know what I'm saying? Or you're inferior to me. It's just ridiculous to the point where now we have to address a low standard, a low frequency, you know, it's just, that's where we're at. So for that purpose, I'm going to address it. And the fact that, you know, that gentleman who died recently, you know what I'm saying, through that officer having his knee to his neck, I mean, and one standing there watching, you know, it was just like, you know, terrible to watch, you know, but it's nothing new, you know, it's nothing new. I don't feel like we should be outraged. Why? Because it's nothing new, you know, it's just being shown on camera more, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing new. It's just, you know, the evil, with all the technology we have, we can put the evil on camera. So the same way, you know, we're doing the opposite. Brothers of Influence, we're here to put, you know, the opposite on camera. You know what I'm saying? There is great African Americans out here doing great things for our community. You know what I'm saying? And we deserve the respect like anyone else, and we could execute just like anyone else. You know what I'm saying? And we're not inferior to anyone else. And that's not to like compare. That's just to educate. You know, there's no such thing as, oh, you know, so I just want to put that out there. So, and, you know, just to speak on, you know, what's happening with, you know, I understand your outrage. I understand, you know, this is just, we're just sick and tired, but we can't go around vandalizing, you know, the same police officers. There's not all of them are bad. Some are bad, but not all of them are bad. So to go and burn police cars and burn business environment, you know, establishments and stuff like that, what does that tell of our conduct? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, we just can't like give that bullet. You know what I'm saying? Racism is an empty gun until you give the bullet. So when we turn around and do things and start vandalizing and going and getting out of character, guess what's gonna happen? Look what you're gonna see. You see, that's exactly what I was trying to say, because now they have the bullet. References that they could use and show to the audience, maybe people who might be sitting on the fence. Hey, I don't know if this is real, you know? I don't know if this is real, but we all know this, the history and all that. But at the end of the day, we just can't give that bullet. Let's not give the bullet. You know, let's come together. You know, let's come together. Let's have accountability within first. You know, meaning like we don't do this when, you know, in our neighborhoods we killing each other. Why aren't we marching against violence, against ourselves? Why aren't we doing these things? You know, it's the same brother dying, he just didn't die by a cop. You know, so it's like, I just feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love that energy. Let's just direct it properly, accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Let's go out there, let's put funds together and build our own communities. You know what I'm saying? Let's start attending, you know, we discussed this in the first episode, our local community board meetings. Like, let that thing be an overflow of African Americans, because we care about our communities. Because the fact of the matter is, we don't show up to these things. Like, I understand, you know, you go in certain communities, they care. They're always there, giving their inputs and stuff like that. So we don't have representation in the areas that we need to be for these changes to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough to march. You know what I'm saying? Marching and all that stuff is good, but it's not enough. Individually, within our own communities, you know, what can we do? That's the question. That's the place that we need to get together. This thing should inspire us to get together and set goals and plans and make it happen, period. You know what I'm saying? Make it happen. Because the fact of the matter is, everything that happened in the past has happened. We should know it, but guess what? Nobody else is gonna do for us. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I've learned for the past. You know what I'm saying? More than what we are gonna do for ourselves. You know what I mean? In my development personally, I've had mentors, You know what I'm saying? My mentor is actually a Caucasian man. You know, I'm gonna do an episode with him as well. But at the ending of the day, what I've personally learned is the plays. The education is what we lack. The resources are there. The education and the will. You know what I'm saying? So we're capable. All I'm trying to say is let's come together, right? And start doing things, setting goals and plans. First of all, let's get a conversation going. What are the problems, right? We list the problems, and collectively, we're all in different areas, different professions. Let's come together and come up with solutions and execute. It's that simple. We don't have to give energy to that group that fails, because guess what? We can't control whether a person likes us or not. We can't control that. I can't, I'm not gonna spend my time fighting. If you feel racist, whatever, I can't spend my time trying to prove to you that you should like black people or brown people, whatever. I can't spend time doing that, you know. But again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. You know, I'm here with my brothers here. You know what I'm saying? They're doing great things. Actually, you know, they're working right now on getting their own podcast going on here locally. You know what I'm saying? Out here in Maryland. So just look out for what they have going on. If you know, all the information will be listed. Go follow them on Instagram. You know, see what they're about. These guys are humble men, you know. So if you're interested in anything in the finance industry, well, both of them are in finance industry, or investing, you know, feel free to reach out. You know what I'm saying? Feel free to reach out. We're all about, you know, progressing, you know, and leaving a positive legacy for those to come behind us and our families, you know. So, you know, that being said, you know, Hans, I want you to really, like, let's say a person, right? For example, they, you know, they want to organize their finances, right? They're not too sure, like, what's a good place to start? You know what I'm saying? Like, from your perspective, what's a good place to start? You want to own a home, right? For example, I want to own a home. My credit is bad. My, you know, like, where do I start? You know, I know nothing about nothing. Where do I start?
I mean, in that situation, we always talk about a foundation, all right? If you look at anything that was built, it all started with a foundation. So when you're looking at the finances, or even getting to the point of owning your own property, you want to start with yourself and have that one-on-one conversation with yourself. And during that process, you want to gather some materials and information about you. Right, so that's going to involve you having to go in and look at your personal credit profile, right? Looking at your bank account statements, but you should be monitoring those activities 3, 6, 9, 12 months prior to having that one-on-one conversation. So it goes back to the finance 101, the value of a single dollar, right? Watch where you spend that dollar and how much of it actually comes back into your own household or pocket. So just start the foundation. Just have the conversation with yourself as far as, and lay out a game plan. I always talk about anything we do personally, similar to how I look at businesses. Businesses run on 90-day periods or quarterly. So every 90 days, a business owner or an entrepreneur reviews and game plans what their next 90 days will look like. So do the same with your personal finances. Always monitor your credit every 90 days. Monitor your bank accounts monthly, and review where you are financially. And once you have that conversation, then you seek an expert in that particular area. If it's mortgages, to buy a home, reach out to a real estate agent and reach out to a mortgage lender to get some hard numbers and facts. Whether it's $1 million property or $100,000 property, it's numbers at the end of the day. None of it matters unless you know what your numbers are. So you got to start with yourself. I always tell individuals.
That's great info. That's great info. That's great info. All right, Damien, what about like investing? It's crazy you're into investing and all that, because I was actually looking into that, you know, because even during this situation, a lot of people been in their house still making money, while others are like, wow, I'm shut down, you know, like I gotta wait, you know, and there's people in their house. So everything that's going on, you know, when you don't have and you're not properly positioned, you know, and you don't have, and really it is the knowledge, you know. It's not that, oh my gosh, like I'm poor, I'm part of like a demographic amount of people who is like, man, da. The key is not, those are the circumstances you're in. That's a fact. But understand that is the knowledge is what keeps, is what you need. You know what I'm saying? That you don't have. It's key to understand that. Don't write that as the story. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you write that off as your story, you will never knock or seek opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That's actually out there. So Damien, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you get it, like in actual steps. How do we get started with investing?
Absolutely, Les, and I'm so glad that you've asked me that question. And you know, with the coronavirus and COVID-19 that we've been experiencing for the last 2 to 3 months, I get that question a lot. And what I would like to share with your audience is, right now is one of the greatest exchanges of wealth ever taking place in the United States, and we should be included in that process. Now, recently, over the past couple of weeks, I've had lots of friends, I've had colleagues, I had family members talking to me saying, hey, it's now the right time to get in the stock market. You know, they're hearing it on the news, they're seeing it on their social media feeds, and they're thinking now maybe the opportunity to make a quick buck. Well, I'm here to dispel that, everyone. I want to set your mind frame on how to invest properly. I think one of the things that we have made mistakes in our communities is not understanding the difference between investing and speculating. So all of those people who are calling me right now looking for an opportunity, they're actually not looking to invest. They're actually looking to speculate. Speculating is gambling. So let's dispel that for a second and walk through a simple process of how to get involved in the investment universe. And this is Damien's 5-step process that I've created myself, everyone. Now, I'm in line with Hans. In order to do investing, you have to start off with a foundation. So what is a foundation in the investment universe? Well, the foundation is making sure you have what's called an emergency savings, number one. And number two, having life insurance. And I know life insurance is kind of a taboo topic, and some folks will say, I don't need life insurance, so on and so forth, but yes, you do. Especially in the environment that we're in now when it comes to the new normal of wearing these face masks. And what I mean by that, everyone, is we're not here forever. We're gonna pass away. Our day is coming. Now, the difference between us and those that may not look exactly like us is they leave assets for inheritance to their beneficiaries. And that's how they're able to establish wealth throughout the generations. And that's why life insurance is so important for us, just as a foundation, along with that emergency savings, because we have to not only think about ourselves, but we have to think about our legacy and who we're leaving behind once we leave this earth. So now that we have those two out of the way, life insurance, make sure you're talking about these term policies that we can go into detail in maybe another podcast. But that's the foundation. So let's talk about the emergency savings. So emergency savings should be about 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. So add up your bills. If you see your bills, your utilities, your cable bills, what you're paying on groceries, let's say that's $2,000 a month. Well, you're gonna multiply that by either 6 or 3. You're gonna use 6 if you're a single individual. You're gonna use 3 months if you're a couple, or maybe you have substantial assets. And when I say substantial assets, we're talking $500,000 or more. Now, once that emergency savings is created, then you can move up the tier. And everyone, I just have this written in a notebook. I'm sure you all can't see this in detail, but I have a 5-step process, and I'm going to walk you through all of these. So again, I said emergency savings is your foundation along with life insurance. Once you have that established, then you can move up to the next tier. So what I have written here is short-term investments, mid-term investments, retirement, and then we have the wild card. You know, what I've seen recently is investors come to me and they want to start off with the wild card. Well, that's completely backwards. We don't want to invest in individual stocks or individual Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies right off the bat. We have to establish our foundation. So moving past the emergency savings, you've already decided that, hey, I need 3 months of reserves or 6 months of reserves based on your situation. So what do you do next? Well, you take that same amount that you've established in your emergency savings and you put it into what we call short-term investments. Short-term investments have time periods of 3 years or less, that is. Now, anything that's going to be used in 3 years or less, it can't have a lot of swings, ups and down in value, because what if something happens, you need that money. So you have to keep it in short-term instruments. What are short-term instruments? CDs. You can keep them in money market savings accounts, if you can find a good yielding savings account, that is. I'm sure you all know interest rates are at all-time lows, so you're going to have to shop around. Maybe you want to go to bankrate.com and do a search based on your audience or your area. If you're in New York, you're going to do a search in New York for the banks and credit unions. But go after these money market savings accounts. Go after these CDs rates. Go after short-term bonds. These are instruments that can give you more yield than just having it in a checking or savings account in a bank. Now, once you have those two established, emergency savings and short term, I'm going to ask you to skip the middle term and jump straight to retirement. Why am I asking you to go straight to retirement? Because you're going to need to have compound earnings and time on your side when it comes to long-term investing. So you need to get started on those retirement accounts almost from day one. You can't say, well, let me wait until I get established. No, you need to be investing from day one for these retirement accounts. And we all can do it. I started investing in retirement accounts when I was maybe 24 years old, and I was doing $25 per month. I was doing $100 per month. And guess what? Over time, it added up. And then I looked at my account, I had hundreds of dollars. Then I had thousands of dollars. Then I had $10,000s of dollars. And this is someone who was making $30,000 when I was 24 years old. But I was able to set up a guaranteed income stream called dollar cost averaging, where I'm investing every month, regardless of what the market is doing. And I was able to achieve somewhat wealth, I would say. So again, retirement accounts, we can't put this on hold. We have to start from day one. And you have to tell yourself and get the mindset out of your mind that I don't have enough money. Yes, you do. You only need $25 to get started. All you need to do is have time on your side. So once those retirement accounts are established, then you can jump back to your midterm. So you all may ask me, Damian, what exactly is a midterm goal? Well, you have to look at your unique situation. Maybe you have children. And if you do, maybe establishing a college savings plan for them would be a midterm goal. You know, based on the age of your child, you maybe have a 5-year-old. They have, 13 years until college age. So that's a midterm goal. Midterm is anywhere from 5 years to, let's say, 15 years. What are some other midterm goals? Maybe you want to purchase a home. Well, guess what? You may need a down payment for that home. So in the meantime, for that midterm goal, establish that midterm account. What can you use for a midterm account? Maybe you go to a financial planner, or maybe you go to a app such as Acorn or Robinhood, and you invest in what's called an index fund. And I'm sure you all have heard of index funds before. If you watch the news or if you watch the radio, you hear about them all the time. You hear about the S&P 500. You hear about the Dow Jones. This is what we need to be investing in, everyone. And again, we can do this $25 every couple of weeks, every couple of months. And then we've established that account and we've reached the goal. We've created enough money to send our kids to school. We've created enough money to put a down payment on some real estate, such as what we're sitting in front of. And once we have all of that in place, emergency savings, short-term investment, midterm investment, the retirement accounts are already on autopilot. Remember, once we establish the plan, that's going to continue to go throughout our lives. Then we can get to the question that I'm being asked about, Damian, when can I invest in the stock market? Once you have all of these established, that's when it's time to invest in the stock market. And when you invest in the stock market, you want to invest, I would say, 10% of your overall assets. So if all of these are totaling $100,000, your wild card, you're going to take $10,000, you're going to invest in the stock market. And what are you going to invest in the stock market? You're going to invest in blue chip stocks. and you're also going to invest in what we call dividend paying stocks. What are these types of investments? Well, these are the things that you see on the news. These are the companies that you see as you ride down the street and you see their names on the building, so on and so forth. We're talking about Ford Motor Company. We're talking about airlines. We're talking about stuff that's been around for a long time. That's what you're going to invest in your wild card. And if you want to, you can also get risky up here. You can take some chances. And the reason why you're able to take chances is because you've built your foundation. So this is going to crumble if you don't have your foundation. And that's why I ask you all to wait for the wild card until everything else is established. And this is when you can start having fun. This is when you can start playing around with the Bitcoin. This is when you can start expecting the double-digit returns. And this is the key to success when it comes to finance, everyone. And it's this simple. Just 5 steps can get us where we need to be. I'm a mouthful, everyone, so I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Celeste here.
25 plus years of experience building that. That's
Man,
nuggets, man. That's good.
Those are nuggets. I mean, to the average mind, if you sit down and even look at that, there's no way you can't see that that's, you know, true value. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, if you guys want to find out any more information, or it's like, okay, cool, you're moving a little too fast, Damien, need you to elaborate for me, I'm not there yet, not a problem. You know what I'm saying? Contact him on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? They'll be starting a podcast. All that information will be there. You know, just contact them and then reach out to them, and they'll be more than happy to answer some questions for you and help you to get on the journey to becoming a brother or sister of influence. That being said, I thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you. Be blessed. Stay safe.
Absolutely. Stay safe. Peace.